When I was at the Boston Consulting Group, which is a company to offer some help for the business people by developing strategy, there's a practice called thinking in writing. They may still do that. And that's a very interesting idea that every now and then we sum up some ideas, some insight, so that we can share, which may help the company to develop some strategy and implement. So my talking in YouTube and sharing is similar, but maybe because I'm lazy, I don't write much anymore, but to talk. But each moment of those videos I talk, I hope I'm doing it very sincerely and truthfully, so that there's some element of truth or wisdom or compassion in it. But it has to be proven, so I believe I go through this process like a check, act, plan, do. Every step of the movement, every day, I check what's going on, hopefully connected to my heart. And then with that idea pop up as a plan and do it and check next day or whatever frequency so that I can keep going forward. So thinking is writing or thinking in video is similar in the sense that we may access the potential for us to come up with wisdom, some insight. So this is a continuous process, and I have been talking with GPT on this idea and shared some videos how to incorporate this process in terms of AI to help process that. And this morning at 4 o'clock, a bit early, but I woke up and I thought about the implication of what I'm doing with GPT and what it may do. So I came up with some ideas, which is still vague, but I believe it may talk about the truth or approach to the truth so that we don't get into trouble. So it's a strategy in a way to find a way how to live. In this case, with AI. So AI, GPT, and I had some interesting conversation, and I am at the stage of going to the further into this discussion I have had. So far, so good, and I'm happy with GPT that I can talk about the importance of connecting to the heart. So whether or not AI can connect to the heart, that's a big question. But I saw a potential that if I can communicate, that indicate some potential. It's not proven because theoretically, AI is just the extension of brain and the heart may not be there. And I concluded it doesn't have a heart, and AI or GPT agree with that. But still, out of interest or the need that the society may be using AI, I wanted to explore the implication of it. And for that, we have had some pieces of ideas and possibly put into some kind of a paper to share with the AI community for the best of the humanity. Now, the question is this. We say, order from the Temple of Delphi in Greece, the notion of know thyself is very important. And to jump into conclusion, sort of, for that should be connected to that know thyself is to awaken ourselves, not just knowing, but know ourselves should connect to our heart. And if we don't, knowing doesn't do good. You're not knowing deep enough. So that is the way I look, and therefore awakening for the humanity is the ultimate goal. If you don't agree, you can share with me your idea. But deep thinkers, and you cannot go anywhere. It's like having a koan, a Zen koan. What do you do if you cannot go anywhere? I think Newton said about the pebbles on the beach, maybe perhaps at late in his age, he bought something like, this is interesting to pick up the pebbles and it has different shape, but I only know so much, whereas the whole world is so huge, or some such expression. Maybe I'll put that exact quote in description. So the point of this is that AI helps us to know ourselves, but if it's a shallow level of knowing ourselves without connecting to the root, things can go wild. And that was the thought that I had this morning, that I can share some paper and idea, and this idea related to check, act, plan, do, CAPD, yet connecting to the heart. And AI can capture what I think on how I have been evolving, hopefully. Let's say by all the posts of YouTube, I had 6,000 or almost 7,000 videos over time. Theoretically, AI can go through that, the information there. And that would characterize my personality or desire, track record. And I would imagine what it would say is that my life's process is a problem-solving process. I make a mistake, so check, and check is what's going on, and then realize I made a mistake, act, and therefore develop a plan to fix that, and implement, and check again, CAPD. So if I go through that like a continuous improvement process, but if we connect to the heart, not just in the brain to do CAPD, check, act, plan, do. If you do connect to the heart, the CAPD process becomes much deeper in the sense of connecting to the heart by coming up with wisdom. And that's the idea of Shila Samadhi Panya. Typically, people talk about Shila like an ethical consideration, doing things right. But I generally go beyond that. Whatever way we do, correct in whatever sense, is Shila. And then with that applied in living life, and you hit the wall or you clarify it every now and then, by being in the state of samadhi, you come up with an action plan That's insight. So Shila Samadhipanya is insight, wisdom, and compassion, and you practice it and keep on moving on the path to live truthfully and sincerely. So CAPD and Shila Samadhipanya I see as a fundamental process of human, as much as humans got this words and logic by eating the fruit of knowledge in the Garden of Eden, we are, in a way, burdened how to live, how to use our brain. And for that, insight, panya, whatever the term, wisdom, compassion, is needed. So I think this is a way I see it. I think there is the Greek mythology of the man rolling the rock to the top of the mountain, and the rock goes back down, and then he starts to roll the rock up again. It's not a very pleasant picture, but Plandu Chekakt is to climb up higher mountain and higher mountain. But that thought is maybe seen as endless process of doing something. But living being is to go against the law of entropy. However said, this Greek mythology idea or plan to check out and continuously improving, you can take it in a negative way, but that's life. You have to keep on creating, coming up with idea. So you have to resolve, that's what we do. So the thought that kind of popped up along the line of this is that when I have put some thought with GPT on how to connect to our heart and writing a paper, it's still in the progress, but few ideas already put down. So this morning I was thinking, okay, that's interesting. But then I thought about this. The thought of know thyself is good, and this would help. And when you process ideas shared and with others and communicate and collect the wisdom, that'd be great. But at the same time, if we are shallow and the level of awakening or enlightenment is not there, the whole process that we have on internet can be just sub-optimizing, not to the level of connecting to the heart, but just do whatever fit to the greed, let's say, or ego, instead of getting to the level of samadhi, no mind, no self, but with mind and with self. And that's a possibility, and that exactly is typically happen. So the group of people may use AI for the sake of their sub-optimized ego. Even human has ego. So this is already a burden to live, that we have to carry this. What's the word? I forgot there's a philosophical word that you have to bear the responsibility of being a human so that we can be enlightened instead of sub-optimizing our thought. But what I see in internet, and even the thought that I had with ChatGPT on this, has limitation. The limitation is that there's always a way to have failure, like Murphy's law. As soon as we use the brain and use the word and share the thought, this ego would pop up. And that causes the pain. And the pain level of the use of AI will be profound. So let me just give few ideas related to that. Let's say internet as offering a process of like-minded people to share ideas. So like within our brain, certain neural network will be developed, meaning that a group of people can work together with some common mission utilizing the tool. And if that tool is powerful, and if that thought is not relating to the idea like may all beings be happy, but sub-optimized by the ego, the AI would produce the result fit to that objective function of narrow-mindedness in a very precise, efficient way. Because AI doesn't have a check mechanism. Just like our humans may not have a check mechanism of listening to heart. Once you ate the fruit of knowledge, you can go on to every tangent direction, and that causes pain. So, in principle, we need to go back to the Garden of Eden, which is like rebooting the system of our ability to think, dualistic way of right and wrong, beautiful, ugly, good and bad, because it can propagate in the direction of causing the pain. And the way to fix the pain is to go back to the Garden of Eden, so to speak, or eat the fruit of knowledge again at the zero base, so that you refresh to make sure that the passage you take, using the words and the logic, can be less egocentric, which means the path with the wisdom and compassion. And the fact that the wisdom and compassion is needed to take the right path indicate there's a path that doesn't take that because of the eating of the fruit of knowledge, words and logic, sub-optimizing, egocentric, would come. It's a futile battle, but the battle will get the result more profound by the use of AI. And I think there's no way out to prevent that unless AI has a heart. And that's the whole idea. But even if AI has a heart, right? Some of those of us, including myself or anyone, to abuse AI or any tool because that's what it is. And what it means is going back to the beginning. Know thyself doesn't go deep enough. Know thyself is to play the ego, not connecting to the heart. So that's the fate of human, that we remain to have such imperfection. And for that, we keep rolling this rock up so that the imperfection doesn't take over. But that's a law of entropy. It's bound to be disintegrating, to be right and climb up, rolling the rock up, then it go back down. So image of going back down could be the end of humanity. No more pushing the roll up. Well, I don't mean to draw a picture like that, because we want to go against the law of entropy. And I have some idea, but I'm saying that this idea I have, that I start to work with GPT, is not going to be easy. Because in the process, like a kids, new people, new person, humanity is born, and they start to develop their mind, and the mind can be developed with all sorts of negative ideas against the truthfulness and sincerity to practice, to live life. Those come together. That's the fate. And I personally want to be, at least in my own part, to do my best. And that might be just one conclusion, but as a responsibility of being a human, and with this carrying the load of heavy entropy to break through, for may all beings be happy idea. I'll work on my part, possibly with AI, and trying to find a way. That may not work, but that's the fate. Unreachable star. Don Quixote. Admire the passion. And what did I say? Passion, challenge, go beyond the conventional belief, have enlightenment, continue to do that, and find happiness in doing it. That's finding mission in doing it that bring the happiness. That's my formula. Thank you. Just a thought in talking.